Hello, folks, and welcome back to Catalyst Talks podcast. I am dropping in with a short solo cast here on the topic of the Great Dismantling. And I'm doing this from my log cabin. This is not a fake background. This is real. And this is such an important story about dismantling and why it's so important that we really understand what's going on. So you know how I talk about, and we bring a lot of conversations around the holographic nature of reality here. Well, the holographic nature of the Great Dismantle, let me start there. Our world is going through a great dismantling right now. And, you know, it might be 100 years of dismantling. You know, in history, looking back, we look at periods, epochs in history that took time for societies and great societies to dismantle and then be rebuilt, or, you know, forever be relics of history. And where we are right now is a really interesting transition point, a choice point in humanity. And this choice point in humanity is, are we going to go to the AI tech world of the meta universe? This is just kind of one dimension of this choice point. Or are we going to come back to ourselves, come back to nature and consciousness and leverage our internal technologies, our internal wisdom? And these really, can they exist simultaneously? Sort of, kind of, not really, actually. What's going on with technology is it's usurping. It is definitely, absolutely, hands down, usurping consciousness. It is usurping consciousness. I mean, think about how much the basic simple way to think about this is how much you rely on a phone to look at a map. And we don't even read maps anymore, or we can't really figure out where we are because we're always looking to our device for an answer. And so technology is usurping our critical thinking capacity. It's not just usurping it, it's also morphing it and changing it, and not making a judgment about what's good or what's bad. It just is. And so as we step into this next level of the digital world, where we are giving more of our thought power to some other forms of managing the technology space, where there's censorship, where we are being told what to think, where information is curated based on our behaviors, there's definitely, it's just a different level of personal sovereignty that we'll be stepping into as we move into the AI digital world of technology and the metaverse, right? Especially thinking about technology of food. Like, is that the answer to a shortage of food on the planet? Well, how is technology going to solve food issues? Like, food is food. You have to grow it. You need soil. You need good soil, sun, water, earth, and ether. And so this is just, I'm going to park this over here on the shelf to say, like, the world is going through a major dismantling right now. You know, so those who are saying, no, I want personal sovereignty. In the last few years, we've gone through a dismantling of rights, a dismantling of our way, of our meaning making in the world. And it's like, okay, I can't go there, I can't go there. And really a dismantling of what we knew to be reality. Everyone experienced that, right? And it's just an example. So there's so many ways that the system is dismantling. Systems are dismantling, economic systems, food systems, health systems, our system of sovereignty, our way of being in the world. Community systems, work systems, workplace systems. So much has changed. Clients that I speak to who have teams are experiencing a crazy reorganization about how they work with the teams that they have now. Things are so much different than a few years ago. So there's just no doubt that we are going through a collective dismantling on some levels. And then this podcast is really, or this short little snippet I'm going to share, is really about our own personal dismantling. Everyone I speak to is going through a personal dismantling as well. Some people have been sideswiped with something they didn't expect to happen. And some people, it's just been this kind of long, grueling few years or a long, grueling process. But nonetheless, we are all on some level experiencing a dismantling of who we thought we were, what we thought we were doing, how we thought we were going to be here, and what we actually thought was going to be happening. Right now, it's April, in this month of April or May or March. And I'll share my experience and why I'm really inspired to be sharing about dismantling, because as I go through it myself right now, I can see this so clearly in others and the people that I work with closely one-on-one in intimate relationships, like how this dismantling is showing up for us all. And I didn't say to us, but for us all. And so this is the medicine that we get to extract. When I say the medicine we get to extract, what I mean is the medicine we extract is the gift. It's the gift. It's that, like, think about medicine. You put medicine on a wound. Yeah, the medicine heals the wound. It does what it has to do to heal it, to bring it back to homeostasis. We are all going through this dismantling, and within the dismantling, the tower crumbling, if you are familiar with tarot, what's happening is that there's medicine for us, our unique medicine, which is going to help us heal, grow, mature into our next evolution of being. So this is a gift, because in March 2nd, my dog was going to be receiving vitamin C, intravenous vitamin C treatments for 3 full days at this integrated vet where I take him, which is quite far away from my house. So I was going to spend 3 days with him at this, going back and forth at the vet while he received this intravenous therapy. And on day 1, March 2nd, we went and were there all day and came home to a flood, a leak, a really, really bad leak in my house. Now, the day before this happened, I saw a giant bear walk across my yard. I've been living in this house for a year, and it's all in the woods. It's in the mountains on this waterfall. It's just stunning. And every single day I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, looking out the window, looking for bear. And I live on a mountain that's named after bears. And everyone tells me there's so many bears. Watch your garbage. There's bears. I don't see bears anywhere. There's no bears. And I always see wildlife. It's just, I don't believe there's bears here. Well, I see this bear walk across my yard that evening before Logie, my dog's treatment. And I thought, whoa. And I sat with the giant paws of this bear the next morning. And I said, bear medicine, what is my bear medicine? And the end of March, I was about to be kind of lining up a big transition in my work life, and lots of transitions. And I had all this momentum and all of these plans and all of this, like, way I thought things were going to go for April, May, June, all these plans. And I see bear medicine, and bear medicine, like, the message I got was that it's time to go back into your cave. And I was like, what? Yeah, you go into your cave in spring and then you come out in summer. So this is where bear starts to come out, but that there's more medicine, there's more hibernating to do. And I was like, no, I'm so ready to, like, put myself out there. It's like time. No, I have all these plans and things lined up for me. We come back from the treatment on March 2nd, and there was a big leak in the house. I'm talking ceiling falling out, wood damaged. It was really, really intense. And over the next month, what proceeded was just people in my house every day, whether it was to rip up the floors, to put the big machines in, to do remediation, to rip out my walls, to take all the beautiful woodwork and molding and everything that I had built last year. Just 1 year ago, from the day this leak happened, was when my friend was working on my house, completed it, a person who was in my life at that time, and it was beautiful. And I loved my house so much. I'd only been there for 1 year, and it literally all was dismantling. And I watched this happen in March, and I really sat with it. It was like very traumatic, because my living space was altered. I had work, I had clients, I had so much to do, and I wanted to do, and podcasts. I don't even know how I managed to launch the last podcast, but we did the interviews while this was all going on in my, like, makeshift studio. And the intensity of it was, you can get caught up in the intensity of your dismantling, and it could be traumatic on so many levels. And at the same time, can you be the observer and extract the medicine? Why is this happening? I'm going back into my cave. Nothing existed, nothing mattered. I had to show up for what I showed up for, but it was literally everything else was self-preservation and the preservation of our home and our space and how we could navigate and move forward. It was so much work, extra work. It was a full-time job, and just people coming every single day to the house. And then estimates and rebuilds and insurance and the whole thing. And gosh, so much gratitude for insurance. Yet the point of this story is to say that if you can stand as the observer and extract the medicine, what happens is, in that beautiful grace of like the pause, the pause from the trauma, the pause from the depression, the pause from the freakouts, the pause from everything, must-dos, the lists, the exhaustion. And in those moments, you can see so many miracles also lining up for you. And the more you're able to do that and really focus on seeing what's right in front of you and the gifts, And the net is the thing that's there for you to heal and transform, which, oh my gosh, did I see what I saw, and I still see, and it's still unfolding, because I'm not even living in my house. I'm here in this log cabin temporarily. So, which is beautiful. I'm being radiated by the sun right now because it's sparkling on the lake, and I'm looking at this beautiful, beautiful view every day with bald eagles flying by and stopping for visits and herons. And it's just gorgeous where I am. And it's only a few houses away from my house. So I get to kind of be with my home and on my land. And so the deep, deep medicine here for me, there's been plenty. It's not always just one. And at the same time, the growth that I get to see, wow, okay, I'm being redirected. All that momentum that I thought I had, well, I'm being redirected. And then finding the people to help me with my house, more learning. I have had a lot of learning, things that work amazingly with like magic, and then things that were like, oh, you haven't learned this lesson yet, here you go. So it's been this beautiful journey, and it's always a way. The reason why I thought, okay, I'm impromptu coming on here for this episode is to say that the great dismantling is such a gift. It is such an opportunity. And when we're sideswiped by it, I would think our life just changed. Your partner leaves you, or out of nowhere, or your whole team, your whole business, your whole company is not operating the way it was before, and everything feels like it's going backwards. Or you are having a crazy living situation and you have to deal with that, or your health has taken a hit, or old ways of being where you've had kind of dynamics and relationships are changing, and it's left you at a place of kind of a, well, what now? The old is dismantling on purpose, and it's how we hold it. It's how we hold it and see it and use it to grow. And if we're just kind of going to ignore it, and often our inner demons come up in these times, and the inner demons are, there are often ways that we stay in the holding pattern that got us here to begin with. And the reason why we're all dismantling is we are ready, and we're being given this gift of in the moment of the opportunity to dismantle our holding patterns. The holding patterns are those pieces that are, they stay with, we form them as ways to protect ourselves, maybe when we were children, and they served us at one point, but they don't serve us anymore. And they've become kind of compounded over the years of our lives, and they're actually not working in service to our highest evolution and our greatest good and our greatest joy and actualization. And you can catch my episode with Margot Wilson on vivid dreaming, where she is the expert and goes deep into the topic of holding patterns. There's so much wisdom and many nuggets in there for all of us. So I encourage you to listen to that episode as well. And when we're really thinking about and feeling into what is this dismantling, how is it showing up in my life? It could be really subtle. It could be this chronic thing that's been over the last few years, or it might be like mega acute in your face. Like mine is mega acute in my face. And it's really been an incredible opportunity on so many levels, because it's woven in. And when you can step out of it, when you're not in it and in the emotional, contagion of it all, and you're not in just the facts and like dealing with boom, boom, boom. When you're in just the facts, boom, 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 you're like pushing the emotional piece under the carpet. Nobody goes through a great dismantling and doesn't have an emotional component to heal, transform, transmute, and outgrow. That's the opportunity. That's the holding pattern we're working to create. So if you're staying in the facts, logistics, getting through it, navigating, boom, 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 and not feeling and not diving into the emotional component, it's either going to be a continued chronic long-term thing, or you're going to have the opportunity to deal with it again. And it's going to be uglier next time. And so, this is also showing up as pain in your body. Sometimes if you're not really addressing it, it will manifest as pain or sickness or illness in your body. That's how it works. It starts as the whisper, maybe the emotional thing, the life, the problems, the issues, the dismantling of your house, for example. And if you're not going to look at the opportunity for growth, the emotional piece in it, the thing that's up for you, the medicine, it's going to show up again, or it's going to show up in your body, because that's how our soul is giving us that's how we're getting the it's going to wake you up. It's got to wake you up. I've talked about my head injuries years ago. I had this major head injury that lasted 2.5 years. And that came after many, many signs of being out of alignment and not listening, not fully listening. So I'm going to leave you with this. The great dismantling is not only, okay, this is this dismantling. What's the emotional piece that I need to grow here? It is also this evolutionary opportunity for you. And it's not always obvious what the piece is, but and we're all different. And we all have it's this thing that is dismantling or changing or transforming or dying in your life to be reborn, to be replaced, to be renewed, restored. It is happening. And so that you can see and take a look. And the goal is not just to look at the surface. So go deep, really go deep and look at the alignment in your life. Like, where are you aligned? Are you aligned with who you really are? Are you if you're playing a role that you're not meant to play in this lifetime, this dismantling is showing up for you. And it could be physical pain. It could be breaking up with relationships. It could be old patterns that you're doing to sabotage or perpetrate to hurt other people. It could be, a whole lot of things. And it could be something happening with your house or your living situation. It could be your work situation, your finances. It shows up differently for all of us. And how deep we go and really look at the stuff that's hard to look at, the painful stuff, is like the height we're going to be propelled to when we get through this dismantling, is the honoring and the surrender into the grace and the miracles in this dismantling. I've had so many miracles show up, from the place where I'm living right now for the last month while my house is being restored, to you name it, miracles, the gifts, the new opportunities for work, and to also be sitting in massive abundance right now of opportunity, gifts, and support. I've had so much support. I had to let go of one of my contractors, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I reached out and I was trying to solve this, and an angel landed right in front of me. And it was like, boom, okay, thank you. Yes, we can start tomorrow. Awesome. And it's like, my nervous system is just receiving all of the blessings and gifts of the journey. And it's not, the baseline isn't how it was before. That's the key in dismantling. That the baseline is not how it was before. Baseline is what's the new. And this is life right now, what's in front of me. Where are the gifts? And when you can sit with it and be present with it and not continue to compare it to the past, then you are open for, where am I being redirected to? What is really happening for me here? How exciting. And then in that space, you start to see the miracles. And it's not always easy. It's not always pretty, but it is always beautiful. And it's not always going to be like a fun ride out the other end. You might have to make some big decisions, cut some people out of your life, change your life in ways that are like adding to the dismantling, right? So sometimes we have more dismantling to do before we are complete. And being able to discern that is so, so key. So I'm going to leave you with this. I want to thank you for your presence, and yeah, be in touch with me. What's dismantling in your life? If you get my emails, then please hit reply and let me know. You can connect with me on social media. All of those links are in the show notes. And if you're not on my email list, then please hop on it. You can go to stephanietrager.com and sign up at the bottom of the page there, and you will receive heads up when we have new podcasts, lots of other nuggets. So stay tuned for our next episode. We have some really wonderful guests lined up. I had to take a little bit of a hiatus because of my dismantling and the rebuild and restoration of our beautiful podcast studio. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And stay strong, stay centered, and see the gifts in front of you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Catalyst Talks. Stay tuned for what's up next, and please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. You'll find those links at catalysttalks.com. Join us. We continue this conversation on social media, and if you'd like to reach out to me privately, you can send me a message at stephanietrager.com. Your attention here means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.